Internet. It is I, the Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Today we're going to be talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. So, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons. So, let's get to it. Pros Ninja Turtles. You all know what it is. I don't think I need to go into detail about it, but Ninja Turtles has been around for a long time. Next year, it will hit its 40th anniversary. Yes, that's right. Ninja Turtles has been in existence for about 40 years, which is kind of wild to think about. But most of you probably know the story. It started out as like this indie comic that was basically a parody of Daredevil, and then it was adapted into an animated show in 1987. And then after that, things just snowballed because while the original comic was all dark and edgy, the cartoon was silly, goofy, everything the comic wasn't. And, you know, it was a big old thing. It was a phenomenon. It led to Turtle Mania, if you will, toys being sold like crazy, and then everything would just lead to movies, the original Ninja Turtle trilogy, from 1990, and Secret Reviews and Ninja Turtles 3, those three movies. And a lot of whole it's wild how big the Ninja Turtles were like in the late 80s, early 90s. That was like obviously the peak of the franchise. Things died down after that, mainly due to some bad decisions with Ninja Turtles 3 existing and the original show falling off near the end. And this, I think it was like Ninja Turtles, like they were like on tour or something. It was like this music group of Turtles. It was weird, really weird. They had like hell. There was actually like interviews with Oprah and Barbara Walters. Strange, I know. But after like that boom period of Turtle Mania, things definitely died down, and then it would like kind of like fluctuate after that. I mean, you had like the 2003 series, which fell off near the end, but was still really good up until the falling off point. Then you had the 2007 Ninja Turtles movie, and then Turtles Forever, and then Ninja Turtles was bought by Paramount and Viacom, and then became like a Nickelodeon brand. Then you had the 2012 Ninja Turtles show, which was a big hit. Then you had the Michael Bay live action Ninja Turtle movies. Then you had Rise of the TMNT. Then you had Batman versus Ninja Turtles and a whole bunch of stuff. And now we're here. So Ninja Turtles is obviously off its peak. I don't think it will ever reach the point where it was in like the late 80s, early 90s, but it's still fairly popular. It has a big old fan base. It's filled with millions and millions of diehards. So obviously brand name recognition easy right here. So yeah, pro number one, brand name recognition, obviously. So that's pro number one. Pro number two are the reviews, which are very good, like surprisingly good. I was kind of shocked how good the reviews for this were, because Ninja Turtles, all these Ninja Turtle movies, they've never exactly hit high review wise. I mean, the highest it really went was the 1990 movie, which was like a 50 some percent, which I think is a crime. That score should at least be at 70, 80%. Maybe not. 90 might be too much, but it should be way higher than a 50 something percent. But yeah, the rest of the Ninja Turtle movies range from mid to terrible after that. But this, to my shock, has a 94% critic score, which I'm like, damn. Okay, this this is interesting. I mean, that's on the level of like Across the Spider Verse, which I believe is like a 96%. I think. I think it was 96, 95, 96. So on the same level of that. So that's extremely impressive. Its audience score is at 95%, which is also very good. And its cinema score is an A. So word of mouth is fantastic everywhere. Critics, audiences, cinema score, all great. So none of those are going to be an issue. So that's pro number two. Good reaction across the board. Another pro is the lack of direct competition. I mean, I know there's Barbie. That's like the biggest problem with this, but and yes, there's Haunted Mansion, but that movie died the moment it came out. I don't think I would call that competition anymore. But the thing is, there won't be another family friendly movie, specifically family friendly movie coming out till Paw Patrol the Mighty movie, and that's not till like late September. So this movie has plenty of time to be like the the big family movie, that parents can take their kids to, because they gotta take their kids to see something. They can't just be stuck in the house for like a whole month, even though they're dealing with school because school's started up again. Not for me though. I don't have to deal with school anymore, so yay me. But um yeah, when it comes to like the near future, there's nothing that will be like direct competition to this. So that's definitely a pro. See, another pro, this movie's been advertised pretty well. I mean, sure, like the first trailer got a bit of an iffy response because it wasn't quite what people expected. And that's kind of been the case for a lot of Ninja Turtles projects recently. I remember Rise of the TMNT, it got a pretty lackluster reception when it was first unveiled. People were like, what the hell is this? Raph's the leader? Leo's not the leader? Like, Raph's the oldest? What is this? Like, people didn't know what they were watching. But then the show actually came out and people were like, damn, this is actually really good. The thing is, I was never like on the hate train when it came to Rise. I wanted to give it a chance. And I'm glad I gave it a chance because the show's really, really good. And I highly suggest you watch it. And with this movie, I had the same mindset. I didn't want to trash it immediately. But yeah, the first trailer, I'm like, oh, I feel like it could have been a little better. But subsequent trailers, I'm like, okay, now you sold me on the movie. And I imagine it's probably the same for a lot of people. And Paramount's been pushing this very hard. This was the only movie that was able to have a real presence at Comic-Con when no other movie could because of the writer's strike and the actor strike. This had a presence because you had the director and you had Kevin Eastman, one of the co-creators of Ninja Turtles. They were there and they showed off like 20 minutes of footage. So this movie was able to have a presence at Comic-Con when no other movie could. So that's that's commitment right there. So yeah, I'd say like the advertising for this, Paramount's been pushing this very hard. They're trying to treat it like a big deal, and I say, yeah, you should. You don't want to just throw your movie out there and just hope for the best. Like you want to push it like it's gonna, appeal to people. So yeah, the marketing I say has been pretty solid, so I'm labeling that as a pro. Uh Another pro is like the style of this movie. I don't really talk about style very much with movies, but with this, it looks different from your average animated movie, and a lot of people will automatically compare it to Spider-Verse because yeah, it makes sense. Spider-Verse started this, or Into the Spider-Verse started this trend, started this like revolution with animated movies, to be more stylized, to be different, and not be like hyper realistic. And it led to movies like Mitchell's versus the Machines and The Bad Guys and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. And and this. And not to mention Disney's Wish, which I saw the first trailer for in front of Mutant Mayhem. I watched this movie earlier tonight, by the way, and I'd never seen the trailer for Wish before. And I was kind of shocked with the style of the movie. I was like, okay, this is not what I expected. It seems like Disney's been taking some notes here from Spider-Verse. So, yeah, it's led to this revolution of stylized animation. Not every movie has to look like Pixar. Not every movie has to look the same, which is like what DreamWorks suffering with for a while. All their movies kind of just look the same for a while, but now they've able to diversify their movies. That way you can actually tell them apart. So yeah, the style of this movie, it's not a Spider-Verse clone, not a direct clone. It has its own unique flair to it. It's not a direct copy, okay? Just want to make that clear. But yeah, the style of this movie, people are going to look at, okay, that looks different, that looks cool. And you'd be surprised how many people will watch something or buy something because it looks cool. Okay. And I imagine that's why most people watched Into the Spider-Verse in the first place, because it looked so different. It looked so unique. And I feel like the same things might happen here. I don't know to the same degree, but yeah, I say the style of this movie is definitely, makes it more appealing. So, yeah, I say the style of this movie is definitely a pro. Uh, trying to think of some other pros. I think I've said all the major ones. Oh, the cast for this movie. I don't really talk about cast very much with animated movies because it's not like a huge selling point. Most of the selling point is like the look of the film. But the cast for this movie is extremely impressive. Like there's a lot of names. This is even all the names. But there's a lot of names here. I mean, like I'm not gonna go over them individually, but there's Ice Cube, John Cena, Seth Rogen. This whole movie was basically the brainchild of Seth Rogen, kind of like how Muppets 2011 was the brainchild of Jason Segel. It's like that. And you have and some others, Rose Byrne, Jackie Chan, uh, Hannibal Burgess. It sucks. I can't say this dude's name because he's so awesome, but Giancarlo Esposito. I hope I said that right. Paul Rudd is in this. Post Malone's in this. Like, it's quite the cast to say the least. Extremely impressive. So I say the cast is definitely a pro too. And I might as well mention it's Tuesday preview numbers, not Thursday, Tuesday, because this movie is opening on a Wednesday. It will open on Wednesday. You know, and originally this was supposed to come out on like the 4th, as you can see with this early poster, but then they changed it like a couple months later. I imagine because Mario did the same thing and Mario made like 200 million in 5 days, and I guess Paramount looked at that and like, hey, we can kind of do that too, somewhat. Let's do the same thing, and they gave this like a midweek launch. But its Tuesday previews like are quite good considering it's a Tuesday. It's not exactly a normal night for previews. Open with like 3.85 million. For comparison's sake, the last Turtle movie we got theatrically was Out of the Shadows, which was a total flop, by the way, and a movie I don't like very much because it rubbed me the wrong way as a Turtle fan. But that opened with, say, 2 million for Thursday night, which is pretty bad. That's pretty dismal. So the fact that Mutant Mayhem made more on a Tuesday than this made on a Thursday, I think is a good sign. I mean, how like the 2014 Ninja Turtle movie, the Bay Turtle movie, a movie that really shouldn't have done as well as it did. Even though I don't hate the movie, I don't think it's like great. I thought it's just okay. But this movie had so much hate towards it, so much negativity. It's it's almost like a precursor to what you see nowadays with like movies that get destroyed online before they come out. Like movies, and some of these movies definitely deserve it. Obviously, movies like say I don't know the Emoji Movie or the original Sonic movie, or I'm trying to think of something that came out recently that people, I guess Little Mermaid, I guess. It was kind of a precursor to all of that. But yeah, the 2014 Turtle movie had like 4.6 for Thursday, an album of like 65 million. So it's in between these two Turtle movies here, the Bay Turtle movies. I can't compare it to the other Turtle movies. It's completely pointless because they came out so long ago. But I guess I might as well compare it to TMNT, which was the last theatrical animated Turtle movie we got. Well, really, this is only like the second one with Mutant Mayhem, but this was the first right here. An album of like 24 million. Its Friday number was like 8.7. So Mutant Mayhem's opening day might reach this. Will probably reach this, and it won't even be a Friday. So that's good. So compared to other Turtle movies, it looks decent. It's hard to compare it to other movies in general. I can't compare it to Mario because I didn't even have previews. That was just like raw grosses across the board. And I don't know if I can compare this to Mission Possible last month. I guess I could. It's a very wild comparison, I know. But it's all I got. Okay. because both are Paramount movies, both got midweek launches, so it's the best I got. So Dead Reckoning Part One, which came out last month, that had a Tuesday preview of 7 million. Obviously, this had quite a bit more hype surrounding it, but yeah, I guess it looks fine enough compared to this because obviously this had more oomph behind it. But yeah, but compared to say other Ninja Turtle movies, it looks pretty good. So I'm gonna label its Tuesday previews as a pro. And I'd even mention how, with this turtle movie, well, this turtle thing basically, is the first to have teenage actors voice the turtles, which has never been done before, which is kind of shocking when you think about it. You think it would have happened at least once before now. Someone would come with the idea, you know what? These Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, maybe they should be voiced by actual teens. And then no one ever, like I said, it was never like a thought in anybody's head until Seth Rogen, like who was a producer for this, he made it like an obligation, basically, like a hard obligation. Like, we need teenagers to voice these turtles. We got to make this as authentic as possible. So, yeah, that automatically makes this stand out from like all other turtle media out there. So, there's that too. But that's not really a pro. It's just something I wanted to mention. And I think that's it with pros. Yeah, that's it for pros. Cons. Ninja Turtles, going back to Turtles, particularly Turtle movies. The success for these movies has been extremely inconsistent, both quality-wise and box office-wise. I mean, let's look through these movies. First, you have the OG Turtle movie, the 1990 movie, an absolute banger, a classic. That was a big deal in 1990. Like 25 million opening like in 1990, that doesn't sound like a lot at all, but for 1990 standards, it's big. And it made 135 million, 200 million worldwide. It was one of the biggest movies of 1990. So naturally, you make a sequel, right? And you'd think it would do at least on par with the first, but nope, it did not. Over like 20 million, made like 78 million. So that's not great at all. It's a very big drop off, but it's not like it still made its money back. But I imagined they hoped it would have done better. But at least it wasn't Ninja Turtles 3. Ninja Turtles 3, baby, the worst turtle movie of all time. That was like 12 million and made like 42 million. So you can see there's a steep drop off with these turtle movies in terms of box office. And just there was like a steep drop off in popularity. I guess maybe it was just Ninja Turtle overload, or it was just a fad, or there was too many bad projects that were made that kind of devalued the brand. I don't know. But yeah. So this big old decline in box office led to a 14-year hiatus for turtle movies. I mean, we were supposed to get one like Next Mutation, but that never became a movie. That became a show, a terrible show that had a female turtle, Venus de Milo, and get this, a female turtle who had boobs, even though that made no damn sense. But whatever. And the show was like created by Saban, who was who was behind Power Rangers, and there was like a Power Rangers crossover between the two, which like a Power Rangers Ninja Turtles crossover sounds great. I mean, they're doing it. I think they did it with the comics recently, but on TV that sounds awesome. I just wish it was different turtles, better turtles than the Next Mutation turtles. But that's enough about that. So the next turtle movie was TMNT from 2007, which did better than Ninja Turtles 3. It opened with 24 million, 54 million domestic, 96 million worldwide, and a budget of 35 million. That's not too bad. A little front load, actually quite a bit front loaded, which tells me only Turtle fans watched this and nobody else. But this isn't bad. And they were gonna make a trilogy, but then Viacom bought Turtles and that trilogy died, which is a shame because a lot of people liked TMNT 2007. I liked it to a point. There's stuff I like about the movie, like the Raph Leo fight scene is awesome. That's the peak of the movie. But I feel like some stuff was just undercooked, and the villain was pretty weak in my opinion. And not to mention poor Donnie and Mikey, they felt like side turtles. They felt like supporting players because obviously it's always like Leo and Raph in most turtle media, and like Donnie and Mikey are just there. That's how it's always felt with most of these. They've been fixing that recently, giving all four turtles a chance to shine. I mean, hell, in the movie Mutant Mayhem, all four turtles get to shine, which is great. They all get a good amount of screen time together. So yeah, but 2007 Ninja Turtle movie, that sequel with Mikey that they planned, it sounds so good, and it's a shame we'll never get it. It sucks so bad. But yes, so Paramount then Viacom bought the rights to Ninja Turtles, and they were making a movie, and then we got this with Michael Bay, and there was like a time where the Ninja Turtles were supposed to be aliens. It was like a part of this Blue Door script that you can find online. It's really weird. Like Turtles and Splinter are like from a different planet, and then there's like the Shredder wasn't even Shredder. It was like Colonel Shredder or something. It was not Ninja Turtles, not in the slightest. It it feels like the people who wrote that were on bath salts, honestly. But they changed everything to make it more, authentic, more in line with the brand. And so yeah, Ninja Turtles 2014, a movie that was not liked by a lot of people. I thought it was just okay, but it made a lot of money. It's the highest grossing Ninja Turtle movie by far, in a way. Opened with $65 million, made almost 200 million domestic, almost 500 million worldwide, which is fantastic considering all the negative PR it got before release. I guess this kind of showed you like how much power Michael Bay had back in the day with like this and Transformers. Like no matter how shitty the movies are, he was able to sell them to a mass audience and make them watch it. So yeah. So yeah, Ninja Turtles 2014, big hit despite a lackluster reputation. So naturally, you make a sequel out of the shadows. And I guess this is one of those situations where the sequel has to pay for its predecessor's sins, because oh boy, this tanked hard. Opened with like 35 million, and then made like 82 million domestic, 245 million worldwide on a budget of 135. Oof. Oh no. That's all bomb right there. And this was supposed to be like a trilogy too, but Out of the Shadows just killed the third movie, which honestly was for the best because I didn't like Out of the Shadows. I felt like they tried to do way too much, way too fast. Like having Krang in the movie, it was like Venom in Spider-Man 3. He did not need to be there. You could have saved him for the third movie. So that frustrated me. And like the whole part of the movie, like the turtles wanted to be like humans. Like they could have gone so much deeper with it, and they just like they barely scratched the surface, and that annoyed me. And Leo was just an asshole throughout the movie, which I really didn't like because he's my favorite turtle. So they kind of made him a dick, and that pissed me off. And then Casey, oh no, they made him like they made him like a cop basically, and I'm like, that's not Casey. That's not the Casey I know. It's this whole movie was a mess. I did not like it at all, and I'm kind of glad it failed. But yeah, and now here we are with Mutant Mayhem. I mean, I know there's been other Ninja Turtles movies. There's been Batman versus TMNT, the animated movie, which is really good, by the way. And then there's the Rise of the TMNT movie on Netflix, which is also really good. But those are irrelevant. Those do not matter. So yeah, Turtles have had a very rocky history when it comes to success. So that's a con Mutant Mayhem has to deal with. So that's con number one. Con number two, Barbenheimer, obviously. We live in a Barbenheimer world, if you didn't know already. Because Barbenheimer blew up like I've never seen before. Those two movies dominated everything, pretty much demolished all movies in their path. It's wild, particularly Barbie. Barbie's been doing insane. It's already the biggest movie of the summer. It only took like less than 2 weeks to get there. Like, it's insane. It's gonna make $1 billion. I never would have predicted that in my life. And then you got Oppenheimer, which is also doing stupid well for itself. So all movies have to deal with those two behemoths. And we already have we already have like two victims technically. Mission Possible Dead Reckoning Part 1, which got crushed by Barbenheimer. And then Haunted Mansion also died. So, Barbenheimer is starting to, create a little graveyard. And will Mutant Mayhem join them? Maybe not, but I don't know at this point. Because obviously it's all about those two movies. And sure, there's Meg 2, but I think this and Meg 2 can survive alongside each other. And like the rest of August is kind of fine. I mean, I guess there's Blue Beetle, but I don't think that's going to do well at all. I think that's doomed to fail. But yeah, but dealing with Barbenheimer right now is going to be a challenge. So Barbenheimer, con. Easy. Um, I think that's really. I guess there's also the fact that this is a Wednesday release, so that makes it very unpredictable how it will do. Because I really thought Mission Possible would have done well for the 5 day launch it had, but it just didn't. Like it started out weak, it got better over the weekend, but still it failed to live up to my expectations, which makes me think maybe it would have done better if it opened on a Friday. I don't know. Maybe that's the same problem might arise for this. I'm not sure, but yeah, I don't know. The Wednesday release complicates things, so I would consider that to be a con. And I think that's it. I think I've covered all the main points. So opening weekend, okay. So I gotta do 3 day and 5 day. 3 day. I could see this hitting 20 somewhere like in the 20s or the 30s. Depends on how good if good word of mouth like gives it a boost. But we have no real evidence of that because all I have is the Tuesday preview numbers. I have to wait to see how it does opening day and how it does Thursday before I can really judge how it does on the weekend. We can't do that now. So 3 day, I'm gonna go with a wide range, 25 to 35, very wide range for the 3 day, and for the 5 day, ooh, this could hit like I could see this theoretically hitting double digits for the opening day, and then it falls off a bit Thursday, and then it recovers over the weekend. But I don't know. I don't know. It's so hard. You know, shoot. Why is it gotta be so difficult? 40 plus for the 5 day. 40 plus million. Maybe 40 to 50 million if it's lucky. And it's total. It should have long legs. I mean, like, what does this movie have to really deal with after, for the next 2-ish months? Like, really, it won't have like anything super serious. So, I could see this reaching 100 million. I could see this being, compared to other turtle movies, the third best performing turtle movie out of all of these. Behind, I don't see this making 2014 turtle money, but I can see this, scratching at 1990 turtle money. I think it should reach triple digits. It should reach 100 million plus. It should do a lot better than Out of the Shadows, and definitely TMNT, definitely. But I'm gonna say 100 million plus because I don't know what will happen after that. So, and I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. So that's it for today. Friday, I get to talk about the Meg 2. Yeah, Meg 2. And that'll be it for the week end ish. So, yeah, so stay tuned for like the Meg 2 prediction video in like 2 days. But yeah, that's it. So, yeah, make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, share the whole drill. We'll check out more videos like this. I got playlists on the homepage, all previous prediction videos I've made this year. You want to watch any of them? You want to watch any of the animated movies I've covered this year? Movies like Super Mario Brothers movie, Across the Spider-Verse, Elemental, Ruby Gilman. You want to watch any of those prediction videos? Go right ahead. I encourage it. And there's also the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. I've covered Ninja Turtles, this movie, a few times, but it technically went under different names at a point. So I have to find it. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I have to be more specific. TMNT. This might help. Okay, perfect. So I've talked about TMNT a few times, at least this movie a few times. First time was episode 68, where I talked about it, getting a release date. Where even like in the description, like, and that movie's the upcoming TMNT movie reboot from Seth Rogen. Huh? uh, but yeah, I talked about it alongside a movie called Dark Harvest, a movie that is yet to be released. So that's great. So that was the first time I talked about it. The second time I talked about it was episode 103. No, one. Yeah, 103. Talked about it along. It had the temporary title, The Next Chapter, before it became Mutant Mayhem. But I talked about it alongside Bros, Untitled Quiet Place movie, which became Quiet Place Day 1, and the Transformers 2024 movie, which is now Transformers 1. So I talked about it alongside those. And then the next time I talked about it, I believe, was where is it? Okay. It was episode 191. This is when it got like the 2-day shift, going from the 4th to the 2nd. That was the shift. And I talked about alongside another movie, The Miracle Club. Nobody cares about that. But yeah, I talked about it 3 times. So you want to watch those episodes, any other episodes I've done. I've now done 200 episodes of Cancel, so you have plenty to choose from. So you want to watch any of those episodes, want to binge them all from beginning to now, I highly encourage you to do that, so go do it. There's also box office recaps where I go over the box office results for any particular month. July recap will come out next week. I can't tell you what day, but it will be next week. It will be a very interesting month to cover because some wild stuff happened that I definitely couldn't have predicted several months ago. And then for the August recap, that will happen the first week of September, I think. Probably, yeah, I'd say the first week of September. So stay tuned for that as well. But if you want to watch any of the past recap videos I made on the channel, you can go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.